my name is Jessica, and I am the owner and operator of Roundtown Candle Co. I am a small hand-poured soy wax candle and wax melt business in a little town in Ohio. If you are new on this channel, I created this channel for the purpose of not only for myself and documenting this journey, but also just as a way to connect with other people who are maybe interested in starting a candle business or a small business of any kind. And I also cover kind of just some random life topics as well. So I appreciate you being here watching the video. Hopefully there will be something you can take away from it today. If you enjoy it, I would be ever so grateful if you would like it, follow me, subscribe. That would be awesome. Okay, so as you saw from the title of this one, today's video I'm going to talk about taking notes but not really paying attention. So what I mean by that is when I decided to start into the candle business, I knew nothing about it as far as I had never made a candle, I had never started a business. So naturally the first thing I'm going to do is start researching. So that's exactly what I did. We are beyond fortunate in this day and age that we can just jump on the internet, Google search whatever we want, YouTube videos, articles, everything. It's right at our fingertips. It's silly not to just jump head first, all in. I think I got that mixed up. But it's silly not to do that because we have the ability. We have all the resources we could ever want. It's super easy. I honestly don't know how people made such big decisions to learn something new and start a business when they didn't have what we have now. So kudos to everyone who has done that. I imagine it would have been a lot harder. So for me, when I decided that I wanted to start making candles and turn it into a business, the first thing I do is I go online and I start my research. So the first step of that, Googling, interested in starting a candle business, that type of thing, it immediately leads me to YouTube, and I just go all in with absorbing any and everything I can. I'm pretty sure the first candle maker's YouTube channel I went to was Erica with Memory Box Candle Co. And I scrolled back through her earlier videos when she was starting her journey, and I just started to watch. And then I made my way to Wade, and I made my way to Stanley, and I made my way to Judith with Urban Wanderlust, and went through all the people that you probably also watch or have found or follow. And I just started picking up pieces of information from each of them, and I started to take notes. Now, when I decided that I wanted to start this business, I had my own list of kind of a rough draft, if you will, of what style I wanted to go with as far as the wax, the jars, kind of what my feel was going to be. So I already had a little bit of an idea, but I was curious to see not exactly what everybody else was putting out there, but I just wanted to see people's thoughts and how they started their journey and just all those things. So I started into that. I started getting a lot of really good information all across the board from so many different people. And one of the things I started to notice was I was feeling insanely overwhelmed at times because I would watch one video and they would say something like, give away 84 candles before you ever sell your first candle. And I thought, well, that's kind of a neat idea. And then I started to become a little overwhelmed at that thought. Another one was, don't start with more than one jar, style or size, just one jar. Another one was like, only start with 3 scents, only make 5 candles. I mean, it just started to get to where, and I understand that these are people's opinions, these are what people have done and what's worked for them, and I think that's awesome. I do the same thing. I get on here and I share my opinions. I talk about the things that I've done that work for me, don't work for me. And I am not in any way talking negatively about any of these things that these people have posted on here at all. I want to make that super crystal clear. I have loved all the information, whether I myself have followed it or agreed with it, but that's not the purpose of where I'm going here. So back to the 84 candle rule, which again, someone had suggested you make 84 candles and you give them away to whoever, perfect strangers. And all you ask in return is that they give you feedback, honest feedback. And I thought that's a really cool idea, because that is a good way, you know, there's no strings attached as far as, you know, you're not making them commit to anything other than burning a candle and telling you what they think about it. But then I start to think, and this is where the overwhelm for me personally came in. I start to think, okay, so first of all, that's a lot. That's a lot of candles, a lot of time, a lot of supplies, really a lot of cost to give away, and then you're waiting, and then you're getting your responses, and you're compiling everything. I can see where it can work, but in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, this is gonna sound crazy, you guys, but just stay with me for a second and see, I promise it's gonna tie in. So my hair at one point in time was, I don't know, maybe around here. It was a little bit longer. And I decided I wanted to cut it all off, like a pixie cut. And I've talked about my hair in videos before. I really don't know, I'm not that obsessed with it, but it just seems like an easy analogy sometimes. So I decided that I wanted to cut it all off to this little pixie cut. So the first thing I do is I ask somebody, a friend, my sister, my mom, I don't know. I ask someone, oh, you know, do you think I should get my hair cut? And they're like, I don't know. I think your hair looks pretty cute the way it is. It's been looking good. I think you should leave it. So what do? I go and I ask another person. And then I ask another person. And the first person that says, yeah, I think you should cut it, that'd be super cute, I'm like, yes. So it's like, I didn't even really, why even ask the other people? Because as soon as they told me what I really didn't want to hear, all I did was go after the person who gave me the answer that really I wanted. And the bottom line is, I should have just cut my hair. I ended up doing it, but of course I had to ask like a ridiculous amount of people first until enough people told me what I wanted to hear. Okay, so how I'm gonna tie this in with the 84 candle rule, or 20 or 10 or whatever, no matter how many candles you give away. Let's just say I give 20 candles away and I ask for feedback. So what happens if 16 people love the candles, but 4 people don't? Then what do? Do I start back over until I get 20 out of 20? Do I obsess over the 4 people who didn't like them? What if the 4 people who didn't like them had different reasons for not liking them? That's the thing. It can get so easy to get too far in down a rabbit hole and get completely overwhelmed. And I found that out. So for me, when you're watching these videos and you're seeing what people are doing, I think it's great just to see what people are doing, because it's awesome to see that there are so many of these candle makers out here, and not everyone is doing the exact same thing. And I think that's fun. I think it's always fun to see what works for one person, what works for a different person, and how sometimes those 2 people can be doing a totally different thing and both be successful. I think that's really cool. So, you know, when it comes right down to it, rather than watching all these different videos and following all these different candle makers and taking all of these notes, do not let that be your guideline for what you want to do. At the end of the day, you don't need to get all of these things down and then just follow them like that's a rule book. That's not the rule book. I think for me and my note taking, the things that I found to be the most beneficial with the note taking and sort of inspiration for me was more of things like tools and materials. Someone said, this supply company has really good products, fast shipping, they're great. I've been using them for, 20 years. So I jot that company down. That's where I go to research and I think, okay, this is a really good lead on this. I'm gonna look into this company. And, somebody says, oh, I have this wick centering tool, which I've showed you mine before. I have this wick centering tool that makes it so much easier. I consistently have a perfectly centered wick, which I think is good for the quality of my candle, the appearance. It looks like it's a little more professional. So to me, I'm going to write down that information, and those are the things that I took away most from watching these videos. It wasn't so much about start with 4 candles, start with 1 jar, give so many away, do this and do that, and make sure you have this scent and that scent and one from this category. And that just gets so much that you start to drown your own original ideas and inspiration and thoughts. And the truth of the matter is, there is no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong. You can give away 0 candles and be successful. You can give away 100 and get opinions and do your research and change and tweak, and you can be successful too. So the same thing goes for the number of scents. I saw a lot of people who said, keep it really simple, start really small, dip your toe in the water, 1 jar, a couple scents, make a few candles and see how it goes. I think that's excellent advice. I did not follow any of it. I started with 6 different scents. I tried to touch on a little bit of each type of a category so that there'd be a variety. And I also started with 2 sizes. I started with an 8-ounce jar and a 4-ounce jar. And I didn't just pour a couple of each one. I poured a lot, you guys. Like, I really had a good stock to start out. Was that risky? Maybe. Maybe. What if no one likes the small jars? Well, then, I figured, well, I'll just discount them and cut off some of my profit, and I'll still be making a little bit of money. It'd be no different than people who were just giving away candles as testers. Or what if a scent is a bust? Well, that's a possibility. But I guess in my mind, I'm more of the person who, when I come up with an idea, when I give birth to this dream, I don't want to just dip a toe in the water. I want to research like crazy. I want to figure out the direction I want to go, and then I'm going to cannonball off the diving board. That's just the way that I do it. And not everybody does it that way. And that's why I say, don't worry about taking these types of notes. You do what you feel is going to be best based on your ability, your financial situation, your area in which you live, your ability to market, your connections, the things like that. Those are the things that are going to matter and are really going to make a difference between me and you and the next person and the next person. So when you're taking your notes, let them be more along the lines of, this supplier has awesome jars, or this supplier's fragrance is great, or this particular pouring pitcher is my favorite, or this wick centering tool is awesome. Those types of things. Those are the things that I would recommend that you just really research to see what works for people. And you might try one and you might not like it, even though other people raved over it. And that's part of the whole thing. I tried the wick holding things. I tried like 3 or 4 different ones. I use clothespins now. That's what I found works for me. Side note on that, my jars, the diameter of my jars is perfect for a clothespin. I just started testing tins, and as it would turn out, clothespins are too short for the tins that I'm trying, so now I have to improvise. So I did a clothespin and then another clothespin attached to that one, and it worked. For now, it works. So there's always going to be that little bit of trial and error, or you start with one way and then as you go on you find another way you like it better. But so take the notes and do all those things. Make sure you do all your research, and see what other people are doing. It doesn't mean you have to do the same thing. It's just fun to see it. You do get some inspiration and ideas from other people. That's not to say that maybe you won't like the 84 rule and decide to use it. You might. But the point is, do not let it get to a point where you just feel so flooded that you start to panic, because I can see where that could happen. I have had those times where, should I have done the different label? Maybe I like this one better, or man, this person uses this jar and I don't know, maybe I should have used that jar too, or something close to it. Maybe my jars, and you can get caught up in that so easily, so easily. So try not to let that all come at you with such force that you drown out your own ideas, you start to question everything you're doing, you're panicking and all of that. So that is what I mean. That's what I mean. That's my advice, my opinion. You might do it totally different and that's fine, but I realize that sometimes you just need to hear something a certain way. So I hope this will help somebody, someone who is questioning what they're doing, someone who feels like they have to do this or that or whatever. You don't want to be exactly like a certain candle maker. You are not trying to be a duplicate copy. You don't need to know what percentage of fragrance oil and what wicks and the exact jar and what, you don't want to do that, because they already have that candle. You're not trying to make their exact candle. You need to make your own. So do your own research, do your own testing, do all of that. Take away the information that you think can be helpful, and for the rest of it that feels like it overwhelms you or makes you change your mind, just ignore it, let it go. Watch the video, it's entertaining, it's good, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's fun to see how people do stuff differently. So do what you do, study, research, learn, test, take so many notes and so many more notes, and keep taking notes. I'm still taking notes. I think I'll probably always do that. But let the other stuff go. Don't pay too much attention to it. Don't read into it. Don't use that as your Bible. Don't use that as your rule book. All right, guys, that's all I have for today. I hope you found it helpful. If you have anything you want to add to it, any comments, suggestions, or what have you, definitely leave it in the comments, and I will catch you guys later. See ya.